All right, thanks for being here. It is this long marathon of a race with that sprint to the finish that is now kicking in as all candidates are making their rounds, making their final appeals to voters. And joining us now is Republican candidate for United States Senate, Kari Lake. Kari, welcome back. I don't know. Do we have Kari? All right, we're having some kind of a connection problem. Oh, there she is. Okay.
I'm sorry, Mike.
That's
Hello,
okay.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. So let's jump into this because I know this is kind of that sprint to the finish. How do you feel? First, let's talk about the debate. How do you feel the debate went against your opponent? Were you happy to finally have an opportunity to compare notes that way?
Oh, absolutely. I'm happy that I was able to inform the public on some of the absolutely disastrous votes that my opponent has taken for the constituents and for Arizona that have put us on a collision course when it comes to border security. He wrecked the Arizona economy with some of his votes, and we now know that he's siding with criminals over police, his push to defund the police. And most horrifying is that he hasn't been telling the truth about his background. He's had all these $100 million in ads spent by him and his friends trying to tell a story of fiction about a man who is not what he says he is. I mean, we're finding out now that his father, who is a convicted Mexican drug trafficker, the story about him leaving when Ruben was 11, that isn't true. He was in Ruben's life. His parents didn't get a divorce until 18. And this might explain some of his votes with a wide open border and major issues, lying about what led up to his divorce. Now he's trying to beg the Supreme Court not to release his divorce records, which have some damning information about him in there. Otherwise, he wouldn't be trying to spend $1 million to stop his divorce records from being unsealed. So we don't know the truth about Ruben, and it's kind of sad that the media hasn't done their job digging around to get the information out there.
When you look at the issues that the voters are concerned about in Arizona, what do you think are going to be the keys to this election? What are the issues that are going to push you over the top or push him over the top? What are those issues for voters in the final days, the undecided voters?
Well, obviously, I think it's the border and all of the ramifications of a wide open border that was torn open on day one of this administration. I mean, we're looking at not only having millions of people here that we have to compete for housing and jobs with, but we're looking at the crime that's on the increase. We've had many hundreds of homes that have been burglarized by these Chilean gangs. We now know that this Tren de la Agua is here in Arizona. This is the same Venezuelan gang that's terrorizing parts of Colorado. And so crime is on the increase, and we're looking at all of the other problems that stem from an open border. We've got the drugs pouring in. That makes our homeless crisis even worse. That is the number one issue. But in addition to that, the economy is hurting people. The cost of living has gotten so high. Arizona used to be affordable. It's no longer affordable. 3 of our main cities are on the list of the top 10 cities where rent prices have gone up the fastest. And we got to turn this around quickly. That's why it's imperative that people get out and they vote early, vote for President Trump, vote for Kari Lake for U.S. Senate. I want to keep the Trump tax cuts in place. My opponent had already said that he didn't want to keep the Trump tax cuts. They're going to be expiring in January. And now, as part of Ruben Gallego's extreme makeover to try to appear to be moderate when he is the most radical member of Congress, he's lying to the people saying he will keep some of the Trump tax cuts. We need someone who's going to go in there and fight for our families, fight for our financial stability, fight for our security, and fight to bring an end to these wars that are quickly spiraling out of control.
We have seen in this election cycle, more than any that I can remember in my time in voting and paying very close attention, we have seen this ploy of Democrat candidates, including Ruben Gallego, trying to get Republicans to vote for him. And many of his ads say, I'm a Republican and I'm voting for Ruben. We know that Vice President Harris is doing the same thing. Do you believe any of this is working? And if so, why? And if not, why?
Well, I hope those people who are say they're going to vote for him, I hope everybody who says they're going to vote for him will hold off until we get the details about why he ran off on his wife when she was 9 months pregnant and ran off with a D.C. lobbyist who now is the lobbyist pushing all of his legislation. I hope people will pause because There's got to be something horrible in there. We don't know if it was spousal abuse, drug use, and we have the right to know. This is what a judge and an appellate court has ruled. So anybody thinking of voting for Ruben needs to pause and realize he's been lying about everything. He's lied about his backstory. He lied about sleeping on the floor as a child. He's lied, did not disclose that his father was a Mexican drug trafficker. These are really important details. And anybody who will lie on things like that has no business being in the United States Senate. We are seeing so many Democrats and independents come over to vote for America First. The beautiful thing about the America First movement is it's not Democrat versus Republican, Mike. It's Americanism versus this roll into socialism and communism that we're seeing. And our Constitution is hanging by a thread. And it's going to require that we stand up right now and vote, vote, vote. We've got to get out and vote early. We don't want to wait until the last day. We want to get out and vote. But before you cast a vote for Ruben Gallego, I urge you to wait and see what is going to be disclosed about him. It's going to be shocking. And we're also finding out just this week that this Act Blue scheme, where money is being laundered in through Act Blue, that Ruben Gallego is somehow wrapped up in that. This is also breaking, but unfortunately for people listening right now, they're not hearing these stories because the media in this town is not covering him. They have not vetted this candidate. He may be one of the worst vetted candidates we've ever seen. And the same thing that we're seeing with Tim Walz and Kamala Harris, where they're lying about their background, is happening here in Arizona with this important U.S. Senate race. The people of this state know me. They've known me for 30 years. My life is an open book. And we are not getting that with Ruben Gallego. We're getting lies from him covered up, glossed over, and papered over by $100 million in ads paid for by George Soros and a whole bunch of out-of-state leftist billionaires that are trying desperately to get him into office because they will be able to control him. I'm going to go to the U.S. Senate and work for our state, our beautiful state of Arizona, bring back security, border security, safety on our streets, quality of life, and bring back a strong, soaring economy where manufacturers and companies want to relocate to Arizona in even bigger numbers. And I want to bring back the affordability so our young families out there, young kids that are just getting started, can have that American dream, can get married, buy a house, and start a family here in our beautiful Arizona.
Kari, as always, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and I hope we can talk again before the election.
Excellent. Thank you. Appreciate it, Mike.
All right. That's Kari Lake joining us for a few moments. We are reaching out. Obviously, we're reaching out to the other side on this. We're trying to reach Congressman Gallego, give him an opportunity as well.
Thanks for watching the Mike Broomhead Show. Catch up on Amazing Arizonans, a KTAR News podcast, and click the button in the middle to subscribe.